The reason I do these case studies is really for empowerment of everybody in this room, right? So I want to give you guys a more in-depth understanding of all the factors that may have been in play during Russ's kind of marketing in the really 20 plus years that he's been doing music, you know what I'm saying? I want to empower you with that understanding so you can try to emulate that strategy, but also understand what's kind of like history now that may not work and how to adapt it in 2023 and beyond. And again, in my opinion, if that improves your guys' understanding how to do business, I think the entire ecosystem of the music industry benefits, because then labels have an easier time to partner with artists, make more money, and there's a lot less BS going on, and it just helps the whole, artist community. So let's talk about Russ. He's a good example, in my opinion, of the 10,000 hour strategy. If you guys ever heard of that to become a master at something, you want to spend at least 10,000 hours on it. He's really probably like 50,000 hours in. Why? Because at age 7, he started playing instruments, learned the guitar, right? And learned many instruments after that. That's why he can produce all of his own music. In 2011, Russ and his friend and fellow rapper, Boogus, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I apologize if I don't. And by the way, this is just research that I've done. It's not like I know Russ personally, but you can go online and see hundreds of interviews by him, right? So him and his man got on MTV through the single El Jefe, which gained traction. This is in 2011, right? And I'm sure you guys would agree Russ is a smart dude. So don't tell me that Russ didn't make any connections that might have lasted, in his career that he could rely back on down the line. I mean, they were on MTV with a hit that was buzzing. This is back in 2011. That's why they were able to form their sort of artist collective, AKA label, early on. And he was basically, look, there's an article in 2012 that he was described as the in-house producer for, is it Diamond? Can somebody know his record label? Diamond? There you go. So the reason I want to highlight, we'll talk about it later, but there's already articles out there about him, right? So it's not just that cliche thing that everybody talks about, he just dropped a song every week for a year, and that's how he blew up. There's some marketing that goes into it. There's some PR. This is the first early example of that. Again, from early 2011 to 2014, Russ released 11 full albums and 87 singles that didn't really move the needle for him at all, right? We'll talk about we're going to talk about what benefits he got from that, because there's certainly a benefit he got from that. Shortly after that, in 2014, which is really the case study I'm going to focus on, is the strategy that everybody kind of hears on the internet, that those videos where he's like, I started dropping songs every single week on SoundCloud, and a year later I'm blown up. And people just say, oh, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to just drop a song every single week, right? But you'll see that it's not as simple, but again, not to scare you or discourage you from doing that. You're going to be empowered to understand what else was done, so if you do something similar, you could potentially reach similar success, right? So he did that from 2014 for about 2 years, which was, close to 100 songs that he did that way. And then in early 2017, he signs a partnership with Columbia Records because he got a lot of leverage. So it was a 50-50 partnership. Jay-Z and Damon Dash did the same thing back in the day. Murder Inc. did similar things because they were able to, get in front of a lot of fans. They were able to do shows that had a lot of leverage. We'll talk about what type of leverage I'm talking about. And then, after that, on May 5th, in 2018, the first, he calls it a technically official album, at least on the label. There's Really a Wolf went platinum and all that. So I'm not going to get into the recent career because you guys can look all that up. I want to get into the meat of the dropping one song a week strategy, because in my accelerator, where we have hundreds of members, that's the thing I hear all the time. Well, I'm just going to drop a song per week like Russ and I'm going to blow up. It's not as simple as you think, but it is possible. So let's also talk about the evolution of some of these platforms, because I was talking about that last time, is that SoundCloud in 2014, when he was doing this, was sort of in the early stages of what SoundCloud was. You heard that a lot, that they would love the SoundCloud rappers, that they would blow up on there. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The other company that I own, where I have over 60 employees, and we work with huge names like Victoria's Secret, Goodyear, the tire company, Procter & Gamble brands, we build their e-commerce websites on the back end and maintain them. So I know a little bit about software. But SoundCloud was very SEO friendly, search optimization friendly. So if you put your song on SoundCloud, if you guys remember back in 2014, and you go on blogs and articles online, you will see those little widgets that were SoundCloud, you could play it. That's very beneficial for your brand if you're able to get on decent blogs and articles or channels that are able to embed that little widget, in there. So that's huge that he was able to benefit from. Not saying it doesn't work now, but he was like, the first mover advantage. He was one of the first people that really took it seriously, at least in the U.S. The DSPs, digital streaming platforms. If you think about it, 2013, 2014, that was really the early years of independent artists being able to use platforms like TuneCore, CD Baby, and other similar ones to actually get their songs on there. I think at the time, if my research is correct, in 2014, there was only 6 aggregators. They call them aggregators. Basically, DistroKid is an aggregator. That's the platform that gets all your songs as an independent artist on there. So even those algorithms are different. And in 2014, I'm sure you guys would agree that, I don't know what it is today, but it's around 70,000 songs every single day are uploaded to Spotify by independent and major artists all together. So it certainly wasn't that in 2014. Let's say it was 5,000 or 10,000. Maybe it was more, but that's another advantage you get, right? Because it's easier to get on editorial playlists. It's just easier to trigger those algorithms. And remember, even though he talks about Spotify a lot, it wasn't just Spotify that gave him a lot of recognition. He still got on iTunes, Apple Music. Not even sure if Amazon Music was out at the time, but there was Amazon, the regular store where you can purchase the CDs. There was Rhapsody, not LimeWire. What's the other one that started? Anyways, there was a lot of them still on there. So that's another thing you have to consider. And I could tell you from personal experience, I had a channel in 2011 called Tech Vitamins, which is where this kind of brand and evolution kind of happened from posting videos once a week. I've built thousands. You can check it out. It's on YouTube. I think I got like 5,000 subscribers. I'm still getting checks from Google today for that content because it lives on. It was like reviews on technology and things like that. So again, in the early days, and this is also when I was getting into music, it was a lot easier to go viral. So you have to consider that. Now it's super, super saturated. But those examples happen over and over and over again because guess what? TikTok was in those early stages in 2018, 19, 20. It was super easy to go viral. You know what I'm saying? When Vine first came out, the first couple of years, again, if you were the first mover, you were able to take advantage of it. So a lot of artists always tell me, especially rappers, for some reason, like, nah, man, I can't get on TikTok, just boycotting it. Don't boycott it, man. Do it your own way. You don't got to dance or be stupid or funny on it. It's another platform that if they do what they're going to do right and market the shit out of it, you're going to benefit from that because today TikTok is not a dance platform. It's like what Instagram was back in 20. Everybody is on TikTok, including educational content, all of that. I'm doing well on TikTok, so it's not just dancing. So consider that. And same thing for YouTube, Twitter, and other social media. You could just hear see some snippets. What I want to show to that 2014 strategy of him putting out songs every single day, he's also reaching out to blogs and magazines and different channels that help artists, get their music out there. And you can hear him talking about in the interviews, in the Complex interview with DJ Academics and Joe Budden, if you guys remember that. He came on, they got a little heated. I think Joe Budden skipped out on the episode about the girl, I forgot her name, that used to be on that podcast. He was basically saying, look, I used to email you guys all the time. I never got no response until I actually started catching buzz, you know what I'm saying? Another example, look, 2016, and hold on, let me get rid of this. Is that on there? Yeah, this little widget. He already has an article on Billboard. This is probably before when a lot of you guys found out about him. The way I find out about Russ is my buddy who actually works on Wall Street texts me. He's like, yo, there's a new rapper. Have you heard? I'm like, nah. And the reason I'm saying that story is because that was the power of SoundCloud back in the day, right? Like people actually read blogs back then. Right now, from all the data, at least we're getting with the artists that we work with, at least for hip-hop and R&B, blogs are used more for manipulation purposes, PR, to get your blue check and things like that. But I can guarantee you, I've seen the numbers, it's very difficult to actually gain real fans from blogs because fans generally don't read blogs to discover new music, at least not today. But what I'm telling you is that worked back then, and it was very fruitful for him. And he's reaching out to people all the time. So let's keep going. That's the list of emails a little bit deeper. I'm saying that if you're going to get on blogs and expect to gain real fans, that's not what's going to happen. Now, if you're at a certain point of your career where it makes sense to saturate, to improve your search engine optimization, to get on certain blogs, it may be beneficial. Just, again, be vigilant and understand the business and understand what can happen when you get on certain blogs. Because some blogs are for, perception. even though they build a big name and Google recognizes as a big, authoritative URL. So let's go look deeper into some elements because I talk about this a lot, and I want to, I got 5 more minutes. So Russ is also from Atlanta, major industry town for the music, just like New York, Nashville, and LA. I tell you guys all the time, if you're from New York, you're blessed to be in New York just for that reason, because I'm in the DMV and the music industry does not exist there. There's no satellite offices from major labels, or if there is, there's very few, maybe DC. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to rub shoulders with big people like DJ Nuv right here, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's here today. You may, catch him when he comes out of the office at Hot 97, downtown Manhattan. So those occurrences do not happen in other areas. So that's one contribution. Another thing is that most people don't talk about, I don't know why, but you guys know who Kid Super is in the fashion world? I think recently he was asked by Louis Vuitton to do something, but major fashion dude in New York. They were like friends. Russ's family is originally from New Jersey, so he was back and forth between probably the 2 biggest industry towns on this planet for music. You know what I'm saying? So that helps. You have to agree that helps because you're able to meet these people, get their information, send them emails, talk to them and all that. So as he's putting out songs every single week, that is also going on in the background, which again, these podcasts and when people take those snippets and put it on YouTube and try to get their 15 minutes of fame and put up a reel that's going to go viral, they take that thing where it's like, oh, look, March 2015, there's $2,000 I made from TuneCore, and it just makes people think that the sheer fact of just putting up a new song on SoundCloud every single week is the reason that he blew up. It wasn't that alone at all. So again, if you guys remember the song What They Want, which is like the song that kind of blew him up a little bit. That was his 98th song in that 2014 and 2015 strategy. So it's one of the last ones, which again proves that it was incremental growth of growing his fan base. Let's go to the finances. So because he was able to learn instruments in the early days and put in probably 30,000 hours of perfecting his craft and put out 11 albums and 87 singles, think about how good he got at making beats, mixing, mastering. I don't know why we got the little feedback, but he basically was able to, produce dope-ass songs. Now, luckily he got better as a rapper as well from the early days, but all that contributes to that. And the reason I'm talking about the finances is because imagine if you're still a dope artist, lyricist, or a singer, but you're not able to produce songs yourself and you have to buy instrumentals, even if you're just leasing them or buying them exclusive, it will cost you probably $52,000 a year to put up a song there's 52 weeks in a year, right? To put up a song every single week, to get a mix and master. My man, Third Eye Sound, mixed by Gabriel's here somewhere. He's got a studio in Brooklyn, and if you wanted to buy a beat from him, that you own exclusive and get a mix and master and recorded there, you're not going to get it for $1,000 because this man is already a Billboard charting producer. You know what I'm saying? But if you work with a talented producer that's not Billboard charting yet, you may be able to do like 500 or so. So consider that. And that's not even talking about marketing. That's just the sheer value of producing the product. You know what I'm saying? Then we got, he was doing his own PR. If you do your own PR and you start reaching out to the smaller blogs here and there, that's probably actually more valuable than paying a PR agency to get you on those, that perception strategy, paying thousands of dollars and you get nothing out of it. I've unfortunately got scammed like that many times with the artists that I invested money into. We paid $6,000. It was going to be a 3-month thing, and they were like, yeah, we can get you on Complex, X, Y, and Z. And I'm not saying they didn't pitch my artists to those big name blogs, but when the editors at those blogs actually looked at the brand that my artist had, which was very minimal, they were like, look, he's not able to get on our blog yet. You know what I'm saying? So if you do it on your own locally, it's going to be much better than trying to get on the big ones first. And that's exactly what Russ was doing. I gave the example in the last screen. In 2015, he's going on the smaller blogs that help him to propel to the next level. You can read all these quotes if you want. The branding aspect. In Russ's case, is crucial, right? Because, look, there's 1,001 different ways to make a brand. But Russ wasn't the rapper that was like driving around in Lamborghinis in his videos and had to have, a lot of jewelry on and things like that. As an example, but his brand was sort of authenticity and like kind of what was in his head because people fell in love with his lyrics and his personality and things like that. So if you remember what they want, that was a video like in the woods, basically. There was some cool editing going on, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't necessary to, is it still a problem? He figured out how to authentically brand himself. That's the key. You know what I'm saying? There's no like one blueprint I can give you to say brand yourself like X, Y, and Z and you're gonna succeed. The branding is like, it's important, but it's secondary. The consistency and these other elements that he was able to do, the fact that he was able to connect with people, network with people, and put out dope material every single week and not stop, that was what started catching attention of everyone. And then when his song got 87 on the Billboard charts for What They Want, you know, I've had this happen to a few of our clients. When you get anything above or under 100, you know, like you can get 87 on the Billboards, 56 and all that. You can't really see it publicly, but the blogs in the industry sees it. And you get a lot of, not a lot, you get some free press if you're able to make Billboard charts. You know what I'm saying? So that clearly propelled everything going forward. You know, and again, I don't want to discount anybody else's strategy and what you guys are doing in terms of branding, but the consistency and the 50,000 hours you spend and learn how to produce instruments, rap, and constantly doing it and failing and figuring out what didn't work is really one of the main key points. And I've seen there's a lot of different entrepreneurs that help them get to the next level. I could tell you a story that I know firsthand about this podcast, right? Even though it has a different name, the same structure, everything we have today, I already have 35, you can go on my YouTube channel, 35 episodes of, it's called Hustle Vitamins. Same concept. First 25 minutes, I do a monologue about what's going on in the industry. Then we play a song. Then we have an interview. Then we play a song. Then we have an interview. And then last, we would listen to 3 artists and do it. There's 35 episodes of that. Then my man JC allowed me to start coming to his spot, Colorworks in Queens, which we did 7 episodes over there. This is episode, technically, like I said, this is episode like 42, right? And we're still just here. But if we keep going and all the accumulation of that experience, that brand building, my experience alone in the company that I have and other companies that I ran and been successful at, like how much money does that cost? The reason I'm saying that is because I'm comparing it to what Russ was able to do. It's not just the sheer fact of putting up a song every single day, but how much money would you have to spend if you're the investor and you wanted to find a Russ to actually do that? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of underlying costs that people don't talk about and how much money and time is invested into something that allows somebody to spend 10 years to get to a point where they blow up overnight. I'm sure everybody's heard the phrase, it took us 10 years to blow up overnight. And there's because those 10 years did not go to waste. Even though the first 3-4 years must have been frustrating as shit, and you got beat for a lot of money and scam left and right and all that, I feel like that's like something you got to go through the music industry if you want to make it. It is what it is. But all that, if you have a positive attitude and you're consistent, then it can happen. You know what I'm saying? And if I've met many big entrepreneurs. I'm talking about, like Kevin Plank that owns Under Armour. Met him 5 times. He's from Baltimore. So I know billionaires and heard their stories. I read many books. And if I had to pick 1 or 2 qualities that make people get to the next level, it's consistency is 1. And the second thing is finding enjoyment in solving problems. Because that's the fail part. Because you're going to fail 10,000 times. And if that makes you frustrated, depressed, and all of that, I mean, nobody would continue to do that. So those are the 2 elements, right? And I'm going to end it so we can get to the panel with some last words about marketing because everything has evolved. We're in 2023. So to say that you can do a lot of things organically and all of that, the game has changed. And I think the word organic, a lot of people get that confused. I don't care if it's paid or organic, it doesn't matter. All of that is called marketing. Grassroots marketing, if you knock on doors from door to door, that's still marketing. You still got to spend money to eat for that day. You probably have to drive to those neighborhoods, right? So if you sit down with your accountant, he's going to tell you put all those costs in the column under marketing. So, don't argue with yourself whether or not you're going to do it organically or paid or whatever. Paid advertising catches attention, and if the attention is right and you have a good brand, that will quickly turn into organic, continuous follower or a fan for life. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that Russ was able to do shows, that's the major leverage that basically got him the 50-50 partnership with the label, right? Just like I can get you guys, how many of you have been following me for multiple years? They've been here over and over again, you know what I'm saying, that are in this room. So, again, I've built my Instagram following the real way. I don't need no fake numbers. I don't need numbers from India and Pakistan and Bangladesh to make it look like I was making it. It cost me a lot more money, 10 times more, but I kept building in this area so then I can turn people out to live shows. Russ did the same shit, you know? So that's why I want you to be more knowledgeable about the business and hopefully use that knowledge to really get in front of real people. I don't care if you do it here today or you do it through a digital marketing strategy, but that's the name of the game. Get in front of real people, and marketing cannot stop. I don't care if it's time spent or money spent. It's all marketing at the end of the day.